Alright, what's up Dominators? Welcome back to the ShiHai's channel, and today I have reviewed my personalized post V-BT06 Dark Irregulars deck recipe. So I just released a video about Dark Regular versus Pale Moon, and yeah, 2 videos in one day. Wow, what is this ShiHai being so generous for today? Not really, because I'm gonna enlist really soon, which is actually now it's actually considered Thursday, so I'm actually enlisting tomorrow. So I'm trying to push out as much content as possible. I'll be posting another video on today, which is Thursday, at night, really soon. It's gonna be a deck fight between Shadow Paladin and Murakumo, so keep a lookout for that. But for now, let's jump right straight into the deck recipe. As you can see, we have the new format as usual. Layout first. First we're gonna go through the cards, then card skills, and then maybe a little bit of combos here and there, depending on whether the deck actually needs to showcasing of the combos. So let's just jump right into it with the new VR of the set. So we got Brufus, Demonic Deep Phantom Emperor Brufus, 4 SVR right here, so it looks really nice. Skill 1 pattern card blast 1. Look at all of your deck. Search out for 3 cards with the same card name, reveal them, and if your soul has a card with the same card name as those cards, put a card from among the revealed into your hand and put the rest into your soul, and then you shuffle your deck. So what does this mean? It means that you actually need to have a card inside of your soul, and then you search your deck for the exact same card that is inside your soul and add up to one of them to your hand, and then put the other 2 that you searched probably into your soul, because you probably already have one of them in the soul, so you only can search up to 3. So you need to take note that this skill states, right, that you need to have a card in the soul, that I mean the same card name that you searched for in the soul. So if you do not have the same card name, you are unable to actually draw the card and send all 4 cards into your soul, because the skill states that you need to have at least 1 card with the same name in your soul in order to at least add 1 card to your hand and then so charge the rest. If not, you just shuffle your deck. I mean, if not, the card just goes, all the 4 cards that you searched out for, or 3 cards that you searched out for, whatever cards you searched out for, just goes back to the deck and shuffle your deck. So basically wasting 1 card blast. Second skill is pretty interesting. When it attacks, if a soul has 2 or more grade 3s, choose one of your or your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and this unit, this card gets the power and critical of that unit until the end of battle. So what does this mean? Is basically on attack, you probably, if you have 2 grade 3s and so, you may choose one of opponent's rear guards and retire it, or one of your own, and then you gain the original crit and power of that rear guard. So it's pretty interesting. If you retire a unit on Protect 2, you gain the additional 5k power and 10k shield, but that doesn't matter. And if your opponent decides to stupidly force 2, and you retire the unit that's on a force 2, you actually gain crit 3, because the force 2 still applies during your turn. So your opponent is just basically giving you a free unit with 3 crits on it for no apparent reason. So yeah, that's basically the new VR. Basically, the new VR helps you to soul charge quicker and helps you to tutor cards from your deck. Really good filter. At the same time, it provides a 2 crit pressure most of the time. So that it's important to note that this deck is actually not centered around Brufus. It's actually NLK Turbo. So as you can see, the deck is a little bit different. It's suited to my case. So there are a lot of DI decks running around, standard DI decks running around that runs different builds from mine, because obviously this is not the optimized build. As you can see, I still run quite some old cards in this set. At the same time, I'm running on builds where I can first turn, when I ride up to grade 3, I can immediately use No Life King skill, which it means that you soul charge a lot in this deck. Alright, so speaking of No Life King, we have the next VR, Super Old from BT02, No Life King Death Anchor. Only reason why I actually run Brufus with No Life King is because Brufus has to soul charge at the same time. If you don't have No Life King, you can actually rely on Brufus to actually first ride. Moving on to No Life King Death Anchor skill. When placed, you may soul charge 1. This unit gains 2k until the end of turn for each card in your soul. So it's basically on place, you soul charge 1. This unit gains 2k. Take note that it's not continuous, so it's pretty suckish. But yeah, besides that, it's a pretty good pressure unit. But most of the time, you actually want to use it for the second skill, which is more OP. And a battle that you attack, you have 30 or more cards in your soul, you may count +1, put a card from your hand to your into a soul and 3 rear guards. you may write a card from your soul extent, and this unit gains crit +1 under end of turn. And that unit gains crit +1 under end of turn. So what does this mean? If your opponent's at grade 2 and you have 13 or more cards in your soul, you may turbo up into this guy. This guy applies pressure by whacking you with really big numbers at your first ride. Probably your first ride would be about 9 to 10 soul depending. And then after that, your second ride, you may either ride up into No-Life King again, you have another of him in the soul, or you can just, if you have one No-Life King in hand, you may put No-Life King from your hand into your soul, because the skill states count +1, put 1 card from your hand and 3 regards into your soul. So it helps you to ride from your soul as well. So basically this deck is centered around this card, where I immediately use No-Life King skill when your opponent's still at grade 2. To apply that pressure at the same time, after that when you ride the unit that you rode into, it gains one additional 1 crit, so it's 2 crit, whacking you with twin drive, so you don't lose the drive at all. At the same time, if you ride into No-Life King, your opponent will have to either guard a lot or you have to perfect guard. And again, some decks such as Force and Excels, their perfect guards are quite limited, so it's pretty hard for them to guard. At the same time, even against Protect, they are still, your opponent's probably going to be still at grade 2, so it's a bit hard for them to, gain the Sentinel unless they draw into it using a PG, or they are already on grade 3 and they choose Protect 1. Alright, moving on to the last grade 3 I actually run one off in the deck. Is called Number of Terror. Basically, why I run this card is because of the second skill, but the first skill is pretty good as well. It's a free 10k shield or 10k power beat stick. When placed rear guard or guardian circle, it also has 10 or more cards. This unit gets 10k power and 10k shield, so 22k attacker and free 10k shield unit. Moving on to the second skill, when it attacks the Vanguard, you also have 10 or more cards, put 1 rear guard into your soul and draw 2 cards. So it basically refunds the cost of the rear guard that you called. At the same time, after the rear guard that you attack with in the other column, you may shove that rear guard into your soul and draw 2 cards. So it's actually really good. Helps you tutor for your hand. At the same time, allows you to refund the cost back for the unit that you called. Alright, so that's about it for the grade 3. So we have 9 grade 3s in the deck. Moving on to the grade 2s, we have one of the best grade 2s currently that is revealed, Emblem Master. So basically, this card actually makes DI, both in premium and standard, quite busted. Skill, rear guard guardian circle with a soul of 7 or more cards. This unit gains 5k power and 5k shield. So it's basically a continuous 14k base and a 10k interceptor, because as long as you have 7 or more cards in your soul, because it's a continuous rear guard guardian circle skill. And then obviously the on-play skill, Vanguard rear guard, you may count +1, search your deck and drop zone for up to 3 cards in total with the same card name as one of your units and put them into your soul. If you search the deck, you shuffle your deck. So what does this mean? Basically, when placed, you may target one of your units, and then you search the deck and the drop zone for up to 3 cards of that unit that you targeted, and you may shove all of them into your soul. Basically, it's a free soul charge 3, and ideally you want to combo with this grade 1, which I'll get to later. Yeah, so it's basically count +1 soul charge 3. It's actually really strong. It's at the same time, it helps you tutor from your deck. It's not just specific random, it's not just random soul charges, but specific soul charges. So you help to tutor your deck out in terms of filtering for triggers, at the same time filtering your deck for units and extending your soul by 3 because of No-Life King at turbo. So it's pretty important to run 4 Emblem Masters, and pretty important for you to draw it into your hand, because this is the best grade 2 turn yet. So ideally you don't really want to ride into Emblem Master, because I still run the next grade 2 we're gonna get to, which is Werewolf Seeger. Basically this unit is good for grade 2, and after grade 2 is pretty much dead. It's a free 14k beat stick. Continuous Vanguard during your turn, if you have 5 or more cards in your soul, this unit gets 5k, so it's a 14k beat stick, as said before. And then the Vanguard Circle skill, which is the most important one, when it attacks the Vanguard, you may soul charge 2. So basically the best grade 2 game is to ride into this, call Emblem Master, I call this unit first, then call Emblem Master to copy this unit, and then when it attacks, Seeger soul charge 2 is really important, and at the same time helps you turbo up your soul so much that you can have No-Life King skill active by the time you ride up to grade 3. Moving on to the last grade 2 we actually play, the new promo that we have in Vanguard. This card is what makes DI in premium, quite busted. At the same time, in standard against decks such as Gancelot and Moderate. So if you don't want them going up to Moderate while you're on grade 3, you may actually rewrite her from No Life King skill, and then Moderate and Gancelot skill are not active because it states that your opponent needs to be on a grade 3 Vanguard in order for the skill to activate. Her skill, very simple. Continuous Vanguard. This unit gains 1k for each card in your soul. That's basically it. But why this card is so OP? Because if you are on No Life King and you really don't want to give your opponent the first grade 3 right up, especially for Gancelot and Moderate, which is pretty much the meta right now because Shadow Paladin just got Moderate, you may use No Life King skill, and then if she's in your hand, you may put her from your hand to your soul. But if she's on the field or somehow in your soul, but by any means of soul charge, you may write up into her, because you're already base at least having 13 or more soul because of No Life King skill. That's why you're able to activate it. So if you write into her, she's swinging at you for at least being an 18k attacker with additional crit because of No Life King skill. At the same time, on your opponent's turn, she's 18k base. So most of our units can't really actually touch unless you are force scanning in force 1. In force 2 is actually pretty bad because you can hit most of the time. But the only drawback is obviously you need to rewrite into grade 3. So you make sure you have either another No Life King in hand or Brufus, if not you have to G assist. And at the same time, your grade 2, you only get 1 drive rather than No Life King running into either another No Life King or Brufus, where you still gain 2 drives because you're grade 3. Last but not least, we run the superior, I call it with my friends, the superior spinning Valiant, because it has almost the exact same skill, with the cost being when placed in your soul has 3 or more cards with different card names, and at the same time they have 3 or more cards with the same card name. So basically at least 3 cards with different card names, and those 3 cards must have exactly 3 or more copies in the soul. Until end of turn, when your opponent will call from his or her hand to Guardian Circle, he or she must call 3 or more cards at the same time. So superior spinning Valiant, when your opponent PGs, he has to throw additional 2 more cards onto the Guardian Circle as a cost to guard, if not the attack will go through. So pretty okay, because you still run Brufus. Brufus helps you out to tutor out the soul charges and helps you tutor out cards to be sent to the soul. But most of the time, you want to use this on turns where you think you can No Life King them into another No Life King, where they have to throw a shit ton of cards. Especially if they throw Kanzens, they have to at least throw 3 more cards because Kanzen for the cost, and then additional 2 more onto the Guardian Circle. So that's one of the reasons why you run 2. I don't recommend running 4. 3 is the max, I would say. But in this deck, I run 2 because sometimes it does help out a little bit, because with massive hand size decks such as like Protect Against Protect is most likely never ending, especially with No Life King skill, where your opponent will just all keep protecting, keep Kanzen, Sentinel because of constant rewrites. This card actually helps out a lot to break your opponent's hand size down to a reasonable amount for you to end them. Moving on to the grade 1. So we have the new triple red grade 1, I think was the best grade 1 as well, Yellow Ball. Continuous Regard skill, when you attack a grade to upgrade unit, you may soul charge 1, and this unit gains 5k at the end of battle, so it's a 13k attacker. At the same time, it grants you 1 free soul charge, so why not? NLK turbo. And when roll upon, you may soul charge 2. If you soul charge 1 or more trigger units, you draw a card, so free draw 1, why not? On right, you may soul charge 2. If you're lucky, you draw 1 because it's just a trigger unit. If you're not, you still take the free soul charge 2 because turbo, and I'll get turbo. Yeah, that's about it. Moving on, Dimensional Creeper, super old card. I don't see most decks, DI decks, running this anymore because they're more on maybe Brufus with a little mix of Tyrant and NLK inside. So they have multiple grade 3 finishers. But for me, obviously, I still focus on the NLK turbo, as I said before. So Creeper is very important. Basically, if you have a grade 3 or so, this is against 5k, so it's continuous 13k attacker or 13k booster. And second skill is more important, where it's the X skill from the soul. If this card is in your soul, you may count +1, put this card to the bottom of your deck, you soul charge 3. You may soul charge 3. So Ideally, your grade 1 turns obviously either rides into Creeper or Yellow Bot. Grade 2 turn Seeker into calling this into Emblem Master into this grade 1, which we're gonna get to now. Basically, this grade 1 is one of the best grade 1s rare, I think, in the set. It's called Variance Killer Tail. X once per turn, you may rest this unit and put a card from your damage zone or drop zone into your soul. So it's basically a free Ruthen. Every turn, it's not on place. And then, if you put a card from the damage zone, you put the top card of the deck into your damage zone face down. Obviously, you don't get the heal one for free. And then, if you also have 3 Variance Killer Tail, because it's 3 same copies of her, you can't charge one and stack this unit. So, basically, rest, put one card from the damage zone or from the drop zone into your soul. You put damage, obviously, put top card face down. And then, if you have 3 or more copies of her in the soul, you stand and counter charge one. So it's a free counter charge. At the same time, you free soul charge. At the same time, you stand her. So wow! Obviously, the best grade 2 turns. Either riding up from Creeper or Yellow Bot, calling her down, calling Emblem Master down. Emblem Master copies her. You soul charge 3 copies of her. Use Variance Killer Tail skill. Most likely you will send the card from the damage zone, because in grade 2 turns, you probably won't have anything in your drop zone yet. So send damage, zone to your soul, put top card face down, counter charge 1, and then start attacking. When you attack, Werewolf Seeger, you're on Werewolf Seeger Vanguard, soul charge 2. That's basically a shit ton of soul already. At the same time, during grade 3 turn, she's an additional free soul charge for you, again because you have 3 of her in the soul. There is no way, no card in Vanguard probably that can remove your soul in standard as of now. So once you soul charge 3 of her, so you're guaranteed to have at least 1 soul every turn, unless you suck her into a soul based off NLK skill or any other card skill, or she being retired by your opponent. It's basically one of the best grade 1 rares, I think, in the set for DI. So yeah, that's about it. As for triggers, don't run any more draws. NLK Turbo, one weakness of the deck is because you soul charge too much and you deck out really fast. So it takes quite fast for you to actually end your opponent, so make sure that you end your opponent. I still run draw trigger PG because they're important, helps you draw into your pieces, especially when you damage check them or drive check into them. So it helps you draw, and in terms of consistency and survivability against some decks, is still pretty good. 8 crits, original 8 crits, you can run the new crit, I don't really care. Basically 8 crits, 4 heals, obviously consistency wise, 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heals. New starter, I think they're one of the best looking starters. Devil in Shadow, I think it looks really cool compared to fucking the Vermilion Gatekeeper. This guy looks way much better. And yeah, protect 1s and protect 2s. Most of the time, you still go into protect 1, but against decks such as previously in my previous game when I went against XL decks like Paymoon, Protect 2 might be better, because if you stack it up onto Emblem Master or you stack it up onto this unit, it's basically untouchable. Yeah, basically untouchable, and it's a free, like what, if you stack 1 Protect 2 on this Emblem Master and sell more, so it's a free 20k intercept. Same for her, free 20k intercept. At the end of the battle, at the end, you may just send either Emblem Master or her into your soul based on various Killer Tail skill. So it's pretty much consistency and pretty much turboing the soul charge up from the grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3. And finally, once you ride up to grade 3, activate No Liking skill for the finisher. Most of the time, your opponents, when they face against DI, they won't consider taking Sentinels in their starting hand. Some of them do, because they do not know what kind of variant you're playing. You can be playing the Dantarian Brufus variant, you can play just the Brufus non-liking variant, you can play non-liking Turbo. There's a lot of variants currently in Vanguard. For DI, obviously the clan has a little bit much more variety in terms of you running different finishers in a deck to finish your opponent off. You can run non-liking Morphe as well, is a finisher. So don't flame me on this deck whether I don't run Doreen, I don't run Morphe. How is this deck supposed to work? It's shit and all that. But I think this deck is still pretty consistent in its own way. But if you are low rolling with this deck, you are legit low rolling and you probably lose. But in terms of games wise, I find myself pretty consistent in terms of riding, calling, having Emblem Master to copy her as a grade 2 turn. Riding Werewolf Seeker not so much, but you need to take note that if you're riding to Emblem Master and you do have her, please call her down on the Great One turn, so that when you ride into Emblem Master, you will copy 3 copies of her into the soul, because Emblem Master is our on-base skill. But good thing is the Vanguard / Rearguard skill. Yeah, so that's about it. I digress a lot in this video, but I hope you guys like this deck recipe. I'm gonna post more content very soon. As I said before, Shell Paladin versus Murakumo, Justin versus my friend Bakagami, which is Daniel. And yeah, that's about it, Dominators. I'll see you in the next video. This is V-Shai, and I'm out. Peace.